Tuco the Rat here with a little how-to snatch draw, also known as the scoop draw. I've referred to it in the past as my speed draw.
PRC out.
Steve Anderson calls it the bottom grabber draw, and he recommends you don't mess with it. And it's a draw that most everybody in competitive shooting, even self-defense, will experiment with a little bit when they first get started, and then they'll abandon it because it's really difficult to get a good grip, or it's perceived that you really can't get a consistent good grip with this. And I've stayed at it long enough that I've learned how to get a consistent good grip with the snatch draw. So first of all, what's the difference between the snatch draw and the conventional draw, the draw that everybody does? We're talking about the hands at size draw. The hands at size draw, the usual procedure, wrist below belt, and the steps are 1, 2, 3. Okay, so it's a minimum of 3 motions. You're starting with your hands under the gun. You got to come up, drive your hand down on the back strap. That's the second motion. And this is the third motion. So it's a minimum of 3. Some people it's even 4. It's like 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, but it's a minimum of 3. There's no way around that. No matter how good you get at the conventional draw, you're looking at 3 motions. And when you start trying to get it under 120, it gets to be a challenge. It takes a lot of effort. If you do a lot of these in a row, it gets exhausting even. With the snatch draw, it's 1 motion. And that looks like this. Okay. You make contact with the gun on the bottom, on the front strap, and and here's the thing that people have a hard time with. They're trying to grab it with all these fingers at once. And sometimes they're hitting with the pinky, sometimes the middle finger, these two, or this one first. And so what you have to do is you have to get to where you make contact with the front strap with the same fingers, the same area on the fingers each time. And what I found is the least amount of fingers, the better. Okay, so the first gun I'm demonstrating this on is a SIG 320. That's what I learned it on. I think it's the easiest gun to do the snatch draw on because it's light, so it's easy to draw fast. What was the other reason why it's easier? Oh, the beaver tail is really thick. Okay, so it's not that hard to get the web of your hand under there. On the Legion, it's undercut a lot more, and I can still do the snatch draw on the Legion, but it's harder to get the web of my hand under there. With the 320, it's pretty simple to get your hand under that beaver tail grip. So, and when I do the 320, the technique I learned was I make contact just right here on this finger with the front strap, and nothing else touches the gun until it's completely out of the holster. And it feels really weird. It feels like you're going to toss the gun up in the air at first when you first start doing it, but you get to where you can do it. And I've never tossed the gun across the bay. I've never dropped it, but it feels kind of out of control until you get to where you do this. You got to do it thousands of times until it starts to feel normal. Now on the Legion, I have a slightly different technique where I make contact with these 2 fingers. And the more I've been doing this lately, I'm getting to where I'm doing a little bit of the second finger on the 320 too. But the point is, it's got to be the same every time. It's got to be the same thing, same method each time to be consistent. You got to make contact with 1 or 2 fingers. You might have to work it out how you do it, but you got to do it the same way. And then you don't close your hand until the gun's completely out of the holster. I really can't do it in slow motion without dropping the gun. I'm making contact there, and after it's completely out of the holster, then my thumb comes around, then I clamp down on the gun. So one more time with a beep this time. That's the draw. And you can see the beaver tail's up in the web of my hand, and you can be consistent at it. All right, so let's try it with live fire. Oh yeah, one more thing. I was doing that with a weighted magazine. You want to use a weighted magazine and dry fire in the house. Obviously, you don't use a loaded magazine, but you can't use an empty gun because the balance is off. You have to use a weighted magazine to do this draw. Okay, so I was demonstrating with a weighted magazine, something you do indoor dry fire. Okay, now live fire. Okay, 2 alpha and 102. That's the 2 shots, not just one. First shot 83, second shot 19 for 102. Okay, so that's how you do it with the 320. And now I'm going to go to the Legion. All right, I learned it on the 320. I got pretty good at it. I used it in some matches. Then I went to the Legion halfway through this last year, and I had to learn it all over again. And it is harder with the Legion because, like I was saying, the beaver tail is more undercut, the gun's heavier, it's got more inertia you're trying to overcome. So I'm not as fast with the Legion, but I've still done it in matches. I've still done it in matches at or under a second. I can do it in practice faster than that. I'm just going to do one warm-up. Okay, now live fire with the Legion. Okay, a little edge alpha, 2 alpha and 105. Okay, not quite as fast, but not bad. 86 first shot and a 19. And my splits aren't that fast. A lot of guys can do 15 splits or less, and I'm 19, 20, 21. So to do that 105 with a slow split isn't bad. Okay, now I'm going to do one more gun, my XD 45. This is my carry gun. It's major power factor. And just want to demonstrate that because you can do this with multiple guns, but it's a little different on each gun. You have to, I suppose it's probably like that with a conventional draw too. Every gun's a little different. They feel a little different on the draw. But with the Snatch Draw, it's a little more pronounced because the way you make initial contact, that whole thing is that initial contact. It has to be the same. And you have to catch the gun balanced, in a balanced way and pull it out. Okay, now I'm going to warm up with this a little bit. I haven't done very many of these at all. Okay, XD 45 ACP, major power factor, dry fire. I missed my grip just a little bit there. Okay, live fire. Here we go. XD 45 ACP, major power factor. Okay, now I missed my grip pretty badly just now, but I still got 2 alpha, and I did 121 for the 2 shots, which was a 98 still under a second, and a 23 for 121. So even when you screw up a little bit, you're still fast. Let me try it again. Okay, a little high Charlie, and then an alpha on the second shot in 110. First shot, 89. Second shot with a 21 split. What that is. 110 for the 2 shots. So, again, what's neat about it is it's so fast that even if you miss your grip a little bit, You have to make an adjustment, or what I usually do is I don't make an adjustment. I just focus on the dot or the sights and just keep shooting. And worst case usually is you change it from an awesome run to kind of a standard run if you miss your grip. You know, and the thing about it is, when you start pushing speed with the conventional draw, you start getting under 120, 110, get close to 1 second, you're going to miss your grip then too. So, you know, once in a while you're going to miss your grip. Most of the time you're not, if you practice enough. So that's the snatch draw. Remember to use a weighted magazine. I don't know if I mentioned this before. Use grip tape. You're making contact on a small area on the front strap. So you really need to make sure you have as much traction as you possibly can. You know, all that the whole gun's coming out of the holster with contact right here, 1 or 2 fingers, and so you got to have good traction on that. So have good grip tape, weighted magazine. Practice a lot, dry fire a lot. Obviously, don't use a loaded magazine indoors. Use a weighted magazine. In my weighted magazine, I got lead weights under the follower. All right, you can't have, if you go to a USPSA match, you can't have obviously a loaded magazine in the safe area. You can't have brass in the magazine, even unloaded brass. You can't have snap caps. You can't have anything on top of that follower. You can't have any dummy ammunition in there either. So, but like fishing weights or lead weights in there under the follower. And then mark your magazine so you keep it straight. And the other thing is there's a lot of, there's a mental thing involved, like there's with all shooting, as far as you need to be very, very relaxed with this. But that's true, you know, that's true of the conventional draw too. You know, to do a good conventional draw, you got to be mentally relaxed. You got to be physically relaxed. If you got tension, you're not going to be able to do it. You know, mental tension and physical tension. Your hand has to be relaxed as you hit the go button. You know, you've got it. And you don't tense up as you start drawing because remember, you're plucking that gun out of the holster with 1 or 2 fingers, just part of a finger. So that finger is a little stiff as it makes contact. The rest of your hand's got to be relaxed. You got to let that gun come out of the holster and float up into your hand before you clamp down on it. So you got to start relaxed. I see some people when they start really rigid, you know, like this. And I've tried everything. That doesn't work for me. And the reason why is because it's like a drag race. If you start a drag race with the emergency brake on, when the green light goes off, you got to release the emergency brake and then hit the gas. And so if you start 100% relaxed, your muscles are all relaxed. They don't have to relax before they can do what they're supposed to do. They're just sitting there ready to go. So you mentally, you got to get relaxed. Physically relaxed, mentally relaxed. You make a point of paying close attention of all these muscles are relaxed in the lower part of my arm especially. So and unless I'm doing that, I'm not going to be able to do it. So there's a lot of mental discipline involved. So that's how you do the snatch draw. I'm going to do some long distance snatch draw here in a second. I'm going to turn the camera off. We'll set up, do another shot. The snatch draw is especially useful on long distance shots and matches. If you have a stage where there's a far popper and it's the first thing you're going to shoot, it's really good for that because you pop out real quick and it gives you're already ahead of the game. You just coast up to the target and bust a shot. You know, a lot of guys I've seen are going to take a far shot that sometimes they draw in slow motion, which is stupid. You're wasting time. You know, and it's just very natural to snatch draw that gun out and let it coast right up to your target and touch it off. So we'll do a little bit of that and maybe some rapid fire bill drills, and I'll show you a few more things. Okay, I want to demonstrate the bill drill using the snatch draw because I want to show you can get a good enough grip to bill drill to get multiple shots. So bill drill with the Legion. Okay, all in the A zone in 197. Okay, and that is a 95 first shot. So that's snatch draw, clamping down the grip in 95. A 19, 22, 19, 22, and a 20. So my splits weren't real fast, but I still got under 2 seconds on the bill drill. Okay, we're gonna do a few runs at the target with the snatch draw, the scoop draw, speed draw, 2 shots apiece. See what we can do. Okay, just outside the close Charlie, 95 for the 2 shots, a 76 and a 19. Do it again. Two alpha and 86. 86. 2 alpha. A 68 and an 18 for 86. $88. 69 and a 19. That's probably about the edge of what I can do. Two alpha and 90. 71 and a 19. So I don't know if the camera can see that. I'll run up real quick. Got one outside the box. The rest are in there. Okay, we're going to do a little snatch draw to 20-yard steel. I'm going to do a dry fire. You know what? I won't, because this is what you do in a match. I have not practiced this. I have not warmed up. I haven't even dry fired, okay? Let's say we're in a match. 20 yards to that steel. First try. Pretty close to center of steel in 121. Okay, so the snatch draw works. Okay, I'm going to do the snatch draw at 25 yards to the steel. I had to put the camera really low because there's the angle of the sun is going to cause a bad sun flare and you won't be able to see anything. And I marked 25 yards here a minute ago. It's right here. Okay, so I know the camera's a little low, but then I think you can see, otherwise you're going to get that sun flare. 25 yards. No warm up. Okay, 25 yards, 119. First shot at 25 yards with the snatch draw. Okay, so in conclusion, that's how you do the snatch draw. And in my opinion, it's a real draw. It's a viable draw for a USPSA match. And you do have to practice it a lot. You have to do all the things that I mentioned, you know, with the weighted magazine, the grip tape, lots of practice, focus on being relaxed. But if you do all that and you practice it enough, I think it's a real tool you can take to the match.